Kevin, thanks for joining me this afternoon. I just wonder, from your position as a former immigration minister, I mean, one in, one out was something that the Conservatives wanted at one stage. Do you think it is working? Do you think it can work further, especially if we sign a deal with Germany, Belgium and the Netherlands?
Well, I think many people are wondering just how many boats managed to make it to the UK from Germany. Perhaps they might want to add Switzerland to the list.
Yes.
We had looked
I don't think there are too many boats coming from Switzerland. Maybe on Lake Geneva.
Yeah, that's the joke. I think for this one, they're trying to look for solutions, and we'd look to try and get a returns agreement to France. It would make sense to try and return people to France, but we'd always said we weren't just going to accept the idea that we should take lots of people from the continent in exchange, which is, by the way, what they're now doing with this agreement. And it hasn't been particularly successful with France. We've seen only 42 sent back, and I think it's about 10,000 arrive the other way, and one of those 42 has already returned to the UK. So this isn't just a magic bullet. I can see why they're trying it, but this doesn't strike me as getting to the real core of what they need to do to try and deal with the crisis in the Channel.
It's debatable whether Macron ever had the foot on the gas, but he's certainly taken it off the gas given his internal political problems, the fact he's got rid of his interior minister and so on. We're paying them a huge amount of money, more than £500 million a year, to deal with this problem. Have they just not got any form of desire to deal with it, do you think? Do you think there's any way we can force the French to do that?
I think the problem you've got is what's going on in French politics and the rather fractured nature of the French Fifth Republic at the moment. Whilst you can go and talk to Macron at the Elysee Palace and his ministers in grand buildings, the reality is Macron might be in office, he's not in power. You can look at the French National Assembly. The largest bloc is the sort of left-wing Economic Alliance. Well, it's hard to imagine they're going to want to take tough action on migration. The next biggest bloc is effectively Marine Le Pen and allies. Well, they might be keen to take action on illegal migration and the lawlessness in the Pas de Calais, but they're hardly friends of Emmanuel Macron, and they want him out. And then the third group is the president's own bloc, pretty uninfluential, not able to pass anything on its own. Although, of course, he keeps trying to appoint them as prime minister. So the big issue here is literally the fractured nature of French politics. I think Macron doesn't really have it in his heart to want to take on this issue in the way it needs to be taken on. And actually, if it was going to happen, he would almost certainly need the support of Marine Le Pen to take the sort of measures that would be needed. But we can look at the French government faces exactly the same issues in France as we are, with lawlessness, with the gangs that are behind this, and a need to enforce their own laws and deal with the many people in their country that do not have lawful status, and that's causing an absolute disaster in the Pas de Calais. Yeah, I suspect it'll be the next French president who'll be likely to do that, not Emmanuel Macron.
There's a horrible story today about a migrant guilty of murdering an asylum hotel worker. He stabbed her with a screwdriver and then danced as she lay dying. This is the woman who died, Rhiannon Skye Whyte, 27, was left to bleed on a deserted platform at a railway station in Walsall. She's a mother. She'd been working at the Park Inn by Radisson Hotel, where her killer had been staying. He's a Sudanese national. He claims to be 19, but lots of people think he's older. Had been found guilty of murder following a trial, of course. Wolverhampton Crown Court heard she'd worked at the hotel for about 3 months, helping with things like cleaning and serving food. She's a young mum trying to do her best, trying to have a job and to get some money for her family. And then there was some issue about broken biscuits, apparently, and then he just started staring at her and then attacked her. It is just absolutely horrendous that this had happened. This person should be jailed for life. Should he be jailed for life here, or should he be deported immediately or to serve a sentence elsewhere if that in fact can happen with Sudan? What do you think should happen?
Well, certainly, Peter, your heart goes out to the family involved. As you say, this is just a mum trying to make a bit of money to support her family and gets killed in a brutal manner, and a totally unprovoked manner as well. This man has been looking to game Europe's asylum systems. I think he'd been turned down in Germany before he came here. And as you say, there's debates about his age, because I think it's safe to say he's been dishonest at least once about how old he actually is. I would have absolutely no issue with this man being returned straight to Sudan. Sudan to serve his sentence in Sudanese custody. Whether that's possible is another matter. And one of the issues we do have to watch in cases like this is ensuring someone is actually punished for their offence. Because what we wouldn't want to do is just someone commit a brutal murder, be thrown out of this country, and then find themselves walking around at home within weeks. And in some nations, we couldn't guarantee that people would actually go on to serve their sentence. But certainly, whatever protection need this man is claiming is absolutely irrelevant. Once we can do so, he should be removed to Sudan and to ideally spend his rest of his life in prison there. And I'm conscious, of course, this brings up all sorts of debates about how, when people have been rejected in other parts of Europe, why on earth we're considering their case here. That's
a very good point, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin Foster there, former Immigration Minister. Thank you for joining me on Talk this afternoon. What do you think of this horrendous case? 0344 499 1000.